Okay, so I'd like this to be interactive. So the first part of the session is basically either me giving a talk or explaining what is mindfulness. Then we'll do a practice, and it's during the practice you can switch off your cameras and I'll mute everyone. And after that, we'll come back and have a discussion as to how was that for you, what was easy, what was difficult, and just sharing whatever you want to share. It's really nice if you guys participate rather than me just feeling like I'm talking to myself, which thanks to isolation, I do a lot. So really nice if you engage with me. Do you want to just say your names and just put your energy into the room? So whoever wants to say their names.
Robin,
I'm Pat.
Avisha.
Nelly.
Sorry.
Right. Charlotte, do you want to say hi?
Yes.
Okay, and then Fatima and Emma Vallab, if you want to just say hi.
Hi, Bhavna.
Hi,
This is Emma
Emma.
from South Africa. How are you guys doing there?
We're doing good, thanks. And
Okay,
Fatima,
then.
you want to just say hi? No, I don't think your sister can hear or speak. Okay, your sister will be on silence.
The silent one, which she's not normally.
Okay, so basically what I've done is I've done a 4-week course on mindfulness. So mindfulness, really speaking, is about learning how to be in your body in this moment. We don't need any special skills or tools or abilities to do this. It's just simply, if you're breathing, you can do mindfulness. Because it's connecting with your breath, it's connecting with your life force, it's connecting with your lived energy. So as long as you're alive, you can do this. It does come from Buddhist practices, but that's just because they developed it, not because of anything special about it. You don't have to be Buddhist to do it. You don't have to have any special tools. So mindfulness is also reality-based. So it's really based on what are you feeling and experiencing in this moment. What is real for you now, where you are. So it's not, I can imagine a beach and I wish I was on the beach and I can actually feel the sun and the sea and I can feel that. That's in your mind, that's imagination, that's not mindfulness. Mindfulness is embodied in your body. What do you feel, what do you experience in this moment? Whether it's emotions, whether it's physical pains, aches, whatever, or just sensations, smell, touch, taste. So there's 2 types of mindfulness. Theoretically, there's 2 types of mindfulness. One is what they call vipassana meditation, insight meditation, or mindfulness. With those meditations, we're getting insight into our nature of our mind. So you're using the breath to connect with your body, you're using the breath to connect with reality, and you're noticing the nature of the mind. The nature of the mind is that it's a monkey mind, it's a crazy mind. It keeps jumping around, it keeps moving from one topic to the next. When I worked in a psychiatric hospital, and the first time I did mindfulness, I sounded exactly the same as my schizophrenic patients. I was thought disordered. I had word salad, basically. I just say, just kept saying words, didn't make sense, wasn't a proper string of sentences. And that's the nature of the mind. So by doing the mind exercises, we actually become aware of the nature of our mind and go, okay, why do I put so much value on what my mind tells me if it's so fickle, if it's so unreliable? So today's practice is we're going to do a mind practice, so insight meditation. And the next 3 weeks after this, we're going to do the second part of mindfulness, which is the metta practice. So it's either called metta or it's called loving kindness practice. So loving vipassana or insight meditation is becoming aware of the nature of our minds. Metta or loving kindness is becoming aware of the nature of my heart, nature of my relationship to myself, nature of my relationship to others. How do I relate to people? Can I really wish people well? Or do I go, yeah, okay, I wish you well, and hold back? What's in my heart when I connect with someone or I think of someone? There's certain people who I think about and my heart closes. It cringes up. There's certain people I think and my heart opens. And it's going, okay, so for the people who my heart closes, how do I open my heart towards that person? And that's where this second practice, the metta practice, comes in. It's learning how to open my heart. So those are the two different focuses of mindfulness. They're not really different. I just think of them having different entry doors. If you do a vipassana or insight meditation retreat, part of that will include metta or the loving kindness practice. And likewise, part of metta practices does include some kind of insight. So they're not two separate stuff. They're just coming through a different place. Yeah, and then there's two kinds of practices. One is what we call formal practice, and one is what we call informal practice. So what I'll take you through now is the formal practice of mindfulness, and formal just means it's the sitting down practice or the movement practice. And it's a practice in terms of where we're dedicating this block of time to do the activity. So it's intense because I'm saying, right, for the next 10 minutes or 20 minutes or half an hour, this is what I'm going to do. No matter what other distractions come my way, this is what I'm going to be focusing on. So that's the formal practice. The informal practice is throughout the day, noticing where your mind is, noticing what your heart is, depending on which one you're doing, and bringing your attention back to the open-heartedness or to your body. But I'll explain that more after we do the practice. And like anything else, practice makes perfect. Think of mindfulness as going to the gym for your mind. And now you go to the gym one day, you get some benefit. You go to the gym every day, you get more benefit. And if you really, really want to get fit, you need to go to the gym a lot more or work a lot harder at the gym. And this is the same thing. Mindfulness is a cumulative practice. The more I do it, the better I get at it. Okay, any questions? Any comments? Anything? Nope. Okay, and oh yeah, just one more other thing. One of the main focuses or one of the aspects of mindfulness is that whatever we're noticing or becoming aware of is done with an attitude of curiosity, openness, and welcoming it. So non-judgment. It doesn't matter if what we're experiencing is pleasant or unpleasant. Our job is just to sit there and welcome it and go, okay, this is what's happening. Because the phrase is what we resist persists, what we observe disappears. The more I resist any feeling, whether it's an emotion, whether it's pain, whether it's an experience, the more I resist it, the more it stays. The more I watch it, and for me, the watching analogy is thinking of anything that manifests as a fire. If I watch a fire and I don't add more fuel to it, the nature of a fire is that it will eat itself up. So my job is just to watch whatever's coming up with loving compassion. Okay, any questions?
So, Bafna, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So the purpose is not to change. It's to observe, to acknowledge. So it's not about changing. So if you're observing something that's uncomfortable, the aim is not to change it. It's to sit with it, basically.
Yep. And ironically, that will get rid of it.
Sure.
So you're not actively going, I want to get rid of you. Think of whatever's manifesting, think of it as a 2-year-old trying to get your attention. The only way to get rid of that 2-year-old is to give them the attention they want. Once they've got the attention, once they've told you what they want to tell you, they bugger off. So indirectly, yes, the idea is to get rid of it. But you can't lie to yourself. You can't go, okay, I'm watching your anger, now bugger off. It doesn't work that way. You can't lie to yourself. You can't have the intent of, I'm doing this to get rid of you. You have to do it with full acceptance, full welcoming, full open-hearted. And then it will go away. A big part of this is surrendering that control. And especially for today's practice, the biggest part is, and my parents are there so they can back this up. The biggest part is learning how to leave ourselves alone. My father said that every day for most of my childhood, telling my brother to leave her alone. 3 magic words, leave her alone. And that's what this practice is about. Can you leave yourself alone? Can you stop going, oh, but maybe if you just push this here and try and prod this and do this and get rid of this and pinch this away, then it will be better. Just learn to leave yourself alone. You're okay as you are. You're doing this thing completely well. Stop trying to fix yourself. So 3 magic words. Leave yourself alone. Any other questions?
Bafna, is there, I'm just thinking, I mean, you're saying leave yourself alone. It's not about fixing yourself at the end of the day. But what if you're engaged in, I'm just thinking things like substance abuse and things like that. How? Because you can't leave that alone. So with mindfulness, are there certain kind of parameters that, okay, actually this doesn't work and actually you need to be consciously doing something, or does it work irrespective of what the issue is? I mean, if you think of people who are anxious, they often have to do something to relieve their anxiety. And what we're saying is sit with it and it will eventually go away. So I'm just wondering, are there parameters where this doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't work, but maybe you need to be doing something with it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So I think that's what I'm asking.
So there's 2 different levels. You're talking on a behavioral level. And a behavioral level, yes, there are certain unacceptable behaviors or behaviors that needs to be changed. On a sitting level or being comfortable with myself, can I just for this moment leave me alone? Okay. Can I just welcome the feeling of actually in this moment, even if I abuse substances or whatever, even if I'm feeling really anxious, in this moment, can I just connect to something that's okay? Can I be comfortable with the anxiety rather than fighting it or resisting it? Can I find the part of me that's okay with the anxiety? After that comes the behavioral aspect.
Yeah.
What I realized with this thing is that, certain things affect me more. So if we talk about anxiety, the more I watch news, the more I read media about what's happening and how many people are dying and all that, the more anxious I'm becoming. So it goes, okay, that behavior is unhelpful because it's fueling my anxiety. So I can stop that behavior.
Okay.
But in the practice itself, it's actually just surrendering and going, I'm feeling what I'm feeling.
Okay.
So I
Thank
think of
you.
this as seasons in my body.
Mhm.
So during the practice, it might be raining. It might be a nice, warm, sunny day. It might be a hurricane. My job is not to control the weather. My job is just to notice what weather system is flowing through my body at this moment and go, it's okay. It's allowed to be there. I'm not making it come. I'm not making it go, but
Mm.
it's there.
Okay.
All I'm going to do is watch it with compassion.
Cool.
Anything else? No? Okay, cool. So now you can switch off your cameras if you want. Look at Nelly, was so excited. She was supposed to go for that one. If you want to leave your camera on, that's fine as well. So I'm just going to mute everyone as soon as I figure out how to do that. Mute all. Is it? Mute all. Okay. So I've just muted you all. You can unmute yourself if you have any questions, but otherwise, please don't during the practice. So we're going to do a 20-minute sit. I'm going to switch off my light so I can actually use a timer. Okay, so just sitting in a comfortable position. Whether you're sitting on the floor, whether you're sitting on a chair, really doesn't matter how you're sitting. Just bring your attention to your body. Bring your attention to your body and just feel your body. Just generally become aware of what state your body is in. Is it pleasant or unpleasant? Is it neutral? Are there certain tense parts? And just breathing out. Just give your body permission to relax and let go. Notice any sounds around you. Notice the loud sounds, the constant sounds. Also notice the more quieter sounds. Notice the silence between the sounds. And as you do this, give your body permission to relax and let go. There's absolutely no way you need to be. There's absolutely nothing you need to be doing. You're in the right place at the right time. Gift yourself this moment to just relax in your body. Gift yourself permission to relax in your mind. There's nothing you have to do with the sounds. You don't make them start, you don't make them stop. You don't need to remember them. You don't need to wonder what it is. And you don't even need to go, I like this or I don't like this. There's just nothing for your mind to do in this moment. So just give it permission to relax and let go. And as you do this, become aware of the nature of your mind. It doesn't like staying in the present moment. Notice where your mind goes. Lovingly, gently, bring your mind back to the sounds. Bring your mind back to doing nothing. Bring your mind back to giving yourself permission to relax and let go. There's nothing to do. Just keep bringing your attention back to the sounds, back to this moment, back into your body. Now, if you want, take your attention to your breathing and just notice how your body is breathing you. Notice the incoming breath, the outgoing breath. Notice the pauses between your breathing. This is not a breathing exercise. You're just watching how your body is breathing you. Can you leave yourself alone? Not trying to change anything in your breathing. Again, notice when your mind wanders off. Lovingly, gently bring it back to the breathing. Notice when the mind wanders, notice the topic that it wanders away to. And notice if some of those topics are judgmental, critical. I'm not getting this right. I'm doing it wrong. This is not for me. And just allow those thoughts to be there. Don't fuel them. Just welcome them with a smiling heart and going, okay, that's fine. Just welcoming whatever's coming up for you. Staying connected to the breath. Fully accepting this moment with whatever it's bringing to you. Knowing that you can't do this wrong. You can either be aware or in your thought world. Gently, kindly bring your attention back to the breathing. Just gifting yourself this one moment, this one breath, where you're not trying to change yourself, where you're not trying to do anything. Notice if your mind has wandered away, lovingly, gently, bring it back to the breath. And just for one breath, can you relax and feel that you're okay?
You're okay exactly as you are in this moment, even if this moment is unpleasant. You're perfectly okay. In this one breath, you're completely enough. In this one breath, just giving yourself permission not to try to change anything in you. Being okay, being perfect, being okay doesn't mean that it's pleasant. Doesn't mean that it's all sunshine and butterflies. It might be a storm, but that's also completely okay. Might be a hurricane or anxiety flowing through you. You're still okay. You just watch these emotions, sensations, experiences. Watch it with love and compassion for the one feeling it. For the part of you that's distressed, or struggling. But even knowing in this moment, you're still completely okay. You're still completely enough. Still completely perfect. Bringing your attention back to breathing. Let go of expectations of this to be in a certain way. Become aware of your body. Just notice if it's feeling any different. Become aware of your mind. Notice if that's become different since we started. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, switch on your cameras. And I'll just unmute everyone. Okay, Bobby, you're going to have to unmute yourself. Thank you. Okay, we're just waiting for 2 more people to switch on their cameras. Kala and Hammer. Kala's coming back online. There they are. I think Hammer's trying to get back online. So, how was it? Comment, experiences, anything you want to share?
Yesterday, for me, I experienced less shoulders and between my shoulder blades. Later on, I could feel that.
Oh, I can't hear a word you're saying, Charlotte.
Can't you hear? Can
No, still not.
Okay,
Yeah, there. Come closer to the camera.
okay.
No.
Okay, my camera is a little bit, my old one, sometimes I have this problem. So if you want, I can type what I can
Yeah, okay, type it in. Yeah.
read fine.
Yep, that's fine. Yep. Does anyone else want to share what they experienced while Charlotte's typing her experience? Yeah, no.
I guess it's Hema here. Sorry, I just like to keep my video off, but I find that the one part that affects me most is trying to control, and I think that's because you always trying to do things right. I think, and that's probably the reason why you try and control things.
Yeah. So not doing the control, how was that for you? Letting go of control.
It's fine, but I just find that, you know, that's like my major challenge is always trying to control. So it does feel good when you actually let go of control, but it feels like you're not responsible, kind of, to some extent, in terms of the thought.
Yeah. And that's most people's experience in terms of we love to control. We love to, yeah, think that we're in control of our bodies, think that we're in control of what's going on. And mindfulness is just learning how to surrender. Learning how to surrender to life already loving me and experiencing that, rather than I'm the one driving the boat.
I think for me, what, when you mentioned that it takes practice, it's like going to the gym, and the more you do it, obviously, the easier it becomes. And that's something that I really felt, because I don't know about everybody else, but I don't make time to think for myself, for want of a better way of me saying it. There is no time for me, basically. There's always something that needs to happen or something I need to be doing. So to firstly not feel guilty about taking time, and then to be able to sit and do it, let's say for the 20 minutes, I found it quite difficult, I'll be honest. Initially, it was fine. And then thereafter, it was like, hello, go back. And I know you kept giving us the prompts, but it's quite difficult to give yourself that time, and to take that time. So it definitely is something that you need to practice. So yeah, I really felt that.
Yeah, and that's really a big part of the stuff in terms of that permission to do the practice. Because more so as women, we feel that our job is to look after those around us, serve everyone. And the more we do that, we get caught up in that. And it's obviously, then I go, okay, in the end of the day, I can look after myself. But at the end of the day, I'm shattered. I haven't got time to look after myself. So this is really reprogramming those messages and saying, actually, in order for me to be a good mom, in order for me to be a good wife, spouse, partner, in order for me to be a good worker, whatever roles you play, in order for me to be a good human, I have to look after me. And it's the same way as I shower daily. And that's self-care. I go to the gym because I want to look after this body. And I know if I don't go to the gym, I get groggy and irritated and frustrated, and my family suffers more if I don't exercise. This is exactly the same thing. This is exactly the same thing. It's, if I look after my heart, if I look after me, I'm a better human being. And that's why I'm a better this, and I'm a better that, and I'm a better that, for all the roles that I play. So it's not selfish. And it's getting over that idea of this is a selfish thing to take 20 minutes out to look after myself. So Charlotte's comment was, initially I felt burning sensation between my shoulder blades, and at the end I feel more relaxed. First time to sit for 20 minutes alone. I'm not doing that. And yeah, exactly the same thing, Charlotte. It is that idea of just welcoming the distress. Even if it's pain or whatever, just, it's okay, it's allowed to be there. And like you experienced, because you didn't fight it, it went away.
Bafta, can I ask, I mean, do you suggest you start off your morning like this, and do you kind of suggest starting gradually, let's say 10 minutes at first and then potentially increasing, or do you kind of start at 20 minutes and just keep bringing yourself back and until it becomes your norm, if I can say it that way? What would be the suggestion?
So in terms of time, depends on who you are and what works for you. I like to do it first thing in the morning. It's part of my morning routine. Some people like doing it at lunchtime. Some people prefer doing it in the evening before going to bed. There's no right time. So whatever times works for you, that's the right time. But it is doing it preferably at the same time. And that's purely because we're creatures of habit.
Yeah.
You know, the more we do something at a certain time, the more I do it when I sit on this cushion. The minute I sit on this cushion, my body knows, oh, we're going to do that thing. It's already settling into it. So it's developing whatever pattern works for you. I'd say doing a 20-minute sit And when I say 20 minutes, that I mean kind of what we did here, 20 minutes, but really being kind to yourself that in that 20 minutes, you only get 120 seconds of mindfulness. Because most of the time, your mind is all over the show.
Yeah.
So yeah, I say probably 1 minute per every 10 minutes I sit. The rest of the time, I'm just bringing myself back. And when I mean 1 minute, I don't mean 1 minute. I mean 60 little seconds or 120 microseconds, depending on how quickly my mind buggers off. And it's just, and that's why when I said the formal and informal, that's why this is the formal practice. It's intensity of practice. For 20 minutes, that's all I'm doing is bringing my attention back, bringing my attention back. During the day, noticing where you are, and I don't mean that physically, I mean that mentally, where you are, and noticing that you're not in your body, you're not in this moment, and using your 5 senses to bring yourself back into your body. So for me, the shower is a really big place where I do my mindfulness practice, my informal practice, and just giving myself permission to be in the shower. Mind and body is in the shower, not just my body is in the shower. Every time I wash my hands, just being in the shower.
So Bhavna, this is really just about connecting with yourself.
Yep. Okay. Yep. It's an embodied practice. Before we can do anything else, I need to come back home. I need to come back in my body.
Right.
Then I can do embodied work. But if I'm not here, I can't really do anything.
Yeah.
So if I think of relationships, if I think of anything that I do, if this is an empty shell, that's what I'm relating with to everyone around me. So I need to bring myself back home first, and then I can look at how I'm connecting to people. Then I can look at what's happening from that position. Any other questions, experiences, comments?
I guess, yeah, I mean, I'm in a position where I do practice, and I'm a little bit more knowing of this practice, but I also recognize, you know, it's the awareness how much we're not present, you know, and it's having that patience with ourselves just to continually bring ourselves back, not with frustration, not with, you know, judgment, but just with this kindness of this mind that actually is not with us most of the time. And this is what causes us often our stresses. And it's difficult to do, but, you know, in one level, this is how we train our mind. Our mind is a muscle. It's how we train the muscle.
Yeah.
So we, you know, so it's like Bhavna said about going to the mind gym. It's training the muscle in awareness. You know, how difficult it is to just be with myself for 10 minutes. And that's okay. It's just the awareness of that. And yeah, I mean, it's difficult. It was difficult for me. I was noticing, like, this isn't the time I usually practice. And my mind was thinking, actually, you should be doing something else. You shouldn't be here. Because, you know, that's what often we have. We have conditions that, like, I should be doing something else right now. I shouldn't be here. And this is what we bring to ourselves without, you know, and that's a resistance, apart from letting, and that's what we find difficult to let go, because often our mind will put rules in to our life about what we should and shouldn't do, and if we don't obey those rules, then we're not a good person, and we all get ourselves completely enmeshed in this stuff that actually prevents us from being ourselves.
Yep.
That, you know, it was just, you know, because that's what I was noticing. I don't usually do a sit this time of night, and my mind was saying, actually, this is not right. You know, this isn't the norm. The norm is usually in the morning. What are you doing here? You know? And that's that same message that our mind tries to sort of control us all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's also that idea of, I mean, if you did that, if you did a morning sit, then it's also again that idea of going, I already did this morning. Why will I want to do it again?
Mm.
And yet, if this was your loved one, your daughter, your child, whatever, I don't know, doing something for them twice a day is not too much. Doing something for you twice a day is, oh no, I already gave myself that. Come on, get over yourself. You can't be that greedy. You can't be that indulgent. So it's really noticing our attitudes towards this and that idea of, actually, I'm allowed to do this. I'm allowed to give myself time because it makes me a better person.
So, Bhavna?
Yeah.
What happened is that I was reading Eknath Ishwar Ran. In that it says the whole day that we're living, we are consciously alive from the morning till the evening when we go and sleep.
Yep.
They say there are millions of minutes that we are just thinking of unnecessary things. And he said, if we can just bring our mind to the breath for that 2 seconds also every day. You are sweeping the floor, your mind is not working. You are doing dishes, your mind is not working. You need to focus your mind in such a way that even when you are sweeping the floor, or you're doing dishes, or you're doing washing, or cooking, or whatever it is, if you can just learn, concentrate on your breath and steady that mind, he said that is the greatest help you can ever achieve.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah. And that's the informal practice. And that's why we have to do the informal practice as well as the formal practice. For me, it's so hand in hand. Yeah. Sorry, Dad, you were saying?
I said that makes a lot of sense to me, a little bit every day. So your mind starts realizing that when you're sitting for your formal sit, your mind is already prepared to say, okay, right now, this is what's going to be done.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's doing it in the informal as well, because, so I like using the analogy of sport. The formal practice is my coaching and training sessions. My informal practice is game time. If I want to be good at a sport, I need both. Even when you reach the levels of All Blacks or whatever, they still have coaching and training sessions. They don't go, oh, look, I'm an All Black. I really know how to play rugby. I don't need coaching and training sessions. They still have coaching and training. So it's having the coaching and training sessions, which is the formal practice, and the informal is game time. That's how my skill improves, as long as I do it both ways. And what that also means is, when I first started mindfulness, it was something I did separate to my life. So I did my stuff in the morning, and then I got on with the rest of my life. And that's the same as going to the gym in the morning and then eating McDonald's and chips and whatever the whole day. It's not balanced. I can't do the healthy thing and say, right, I did the healthy thing, now I can be a pig the rest of the day because I finished doing my healthy thing. And that's what I was doing with mindfulness. I did my mindfulness, now the rest of the day I can just be unaware. Bringing in the informal practice means that, okay, I carry on the stuff the whole day. It carries through my life. And in that way, mindfulness becomes my life rather than a technique or approach or something I do separate to my life. It becomes my daily life. It becomes my whole life. Any other questions or comments? So my suggestion is doing a 20-minute practice, as many days as you can, and just seeing what happens in the next few days. And then we'll meet again next week, Saturday. and just share how your week's been. What have you noticed? What has come alive for you? And then next week when we meet, we'll go into the metta practice, which is the loving kindness approach. And we'll do a different practice, and you practice that for a week. And then we come back and we do another one for another week. There's no right or wrong practice.
Yeah.
They're all exactly the same, but it's just different focuses.
Okay. Now, Bafna, would it be completely I'm thinking unethical for me to do this with my children, for example? Because I think, you know, this is such a good skill. I'm going to call it a skill, but I think it's a life skill at the end of the day. And often, you know, as adults, I don't want to say we learn these things too late, because it's never too late. But I'm just thinking, how powerful would it be if at 7 or 8 you can just be conscious of what's going on within you? So is it okay? I think that's probably what I'm asking. You know, I think as parents we're so scared that we're going to mess up our kids, for want of a better way of saying it. And I know as long as the intention is pure, but I'm just thinking of maybe just introducing it to them as well, and that the three of, I don't know about my husband, but the three of us can maybe just sit and be conscious of what's going on within us. I don't know, it's just a thought I had.
There's no age too young to start. I mean, they may not be able to do the full 20 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's teaching it to them in a way that makes sense to them.
Yeah.
So there's a whole lot of programs, or some programs that they run here in New Zealand primary schools.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, they are teaching children mindfulness, and there's nothing wrong with teaching them that, because it does give them tools to manage their emotions, and especially as they come into the teenage years, definitely.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
To that, children will teach us something. Because
Sorry?
they're so pure. I said children will teach us something because they're so much more pure.
True.
Yeah, I mean, the young, and that's basically another thing, is what we're doing is nothing new. When we were born till about, I don't know, 4, 5, whatever, this is all we did. Awareness was all we did. Presence was all we did. When I moved to New Zealand, my niece was 4, and talking to her on the phone was horrible because she was just in presence. So now I'm sitting down, now I'm standing up, now I'm doing this, and that's all. That's how she spoke on the phone, because that was her reality. What's happening now is my reality. I don't know what I did yesterday. I don't know what I learned yesterday. I can tell you what I'm doing now. So presence is our birthright. We've been doing this for the first part of our lives. Then we forgot. We got trained out of it. And again, going back to my niece and on the phone, because back then we didn't have all this stuff. After some time, she learned to ask me, so what did you do today? What are you going to do tomorrow? And she started telling me what she did today and what she going to do tomorrow. So she learned that whole time thing, and that's how you talk on the phone. You talk about what you did and what you're going to do. So we were taught how to not be mindful. So this is just basically coming back home. So practice it in whatever form. Really practice the informal thing in the shower. The practice in the shower. Water, like my dad says, sweeping. Any activity can be a mindfulness activity, as long as you do it with awareness. And it's not awareness as in I'm sweeping, I'm sweeping, I'm sweeping. It's what does sweeping feel like in my body? What does being in the shower feel like in my body? Which part of my body am I touching at this moment? What does it feel like to wash my arms? What does it feel like to actually touch my body? It's really a sensory awareness. It's a bodily awareness. It's not a thought awareness of what I'm doing. I'm not rattling off my job list. Okay. Last chance to ask anything else before we end. Any pressing questions? No. Okay, I'm just going to stop recording. Stop recording. recording. Do you want to stop cloud recording?